Let's talk about how we can take a powerful stand in our sovereignty in spite of the controllers of this planet. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. So let's begin by giving ourselves the gift of a powerful paradigm shift. Because see, we have been drawn into the controller's paradigm for many decades. And that paradigm does not serve us. Well, not only does it not serve us, it weakens us and it removes us from the actual truth of who we really are. Who we really are infinite beings who occupy these physical bodies. And that, my friends, is something that we have been very effectively taught to forget. See, the controllers of this planet have switched our perception into something that makes it impossible for us to win. They have convinced us to identify ourselves as our physical bodies. Now, why would they do that? Because they know how to control us if we think we are our bodies. But when we remember who we really are, which is an infinite being who currently is present on planet Earth, they can't control that. They have no ability to control or confine that absolute truth. So what I want to do for you all in this video is give you an opportunity to shift your consciousness back into the proper order of perception, into the true order of understanding of who you really are, of who we all really are. And you know, this is a very simple switch that immediately robs them of all their power. It's not something they would have ever predicted that we would ever do. So why don't we surprise them? I mean, they like to surprise us all day long with all of their nefarious deeds and all of their insanity, right? Well, maybe it's our turn to surprise them for a change by not only waking up, but switching that false paradigm back into alignment with reality. The reality is we are infinite cosmic creators who occupy the physical bodies that these characters want to control. They want to control our bodies. They can't control us unless we believe we are our bodies. Now, it's very true, of course, that we are here, embodied, in these earthly bodies, living on planet Earth, which immediately shows who is in ownership of these bodies, and that would be us, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be them, it would be us. That's crystal clear. Because without us, these bodies do not sustain themselves. They require our presence within them in order to be sustained. So it basically goes without saying who is in prime ownership of these physical human bodies. And it's not the controllers. So that premise, that irrefutable truth, is where we want to begin to make a complete paradigm shift in preparation for whatever insanity they have yet in store for all of us if we continue to believe the lie that we are our physical bodies, that our physical body is who we are, which is not the truth. The physical body is the vehicle that allows us to be here on planet Earth and make a difference and have an impact and create and love in all of those wonderful things that we as infinite beings are capable of. Because everything I just described to you, without us in these bodies have no capacity to do anything whatsoever, nothing at all. They can't love, they can't create, they can't do anything. Which means they are a vehicle. They're not who we are. They are our vehicles. And that's why they're sacred, my friends. These bodies are sacred because they allow us as infinite beings to be present on the earth. So we have a bunch of crazy, for some reason, the word that comes to mind for me is reptoids. I don't know why. That's just the word that popped into my head. Let's just use it. What the heck? So we have a bunch of crazy reptoids who are trying to trick us into believing that we are our bodies, which makes us feel relatively incapacitated in terms of our higher capabilities as infinite beings. And then they proceed to convince us that we need them to take care of these bodies, meaning us. We need them to take care of us because we're just so lame, being that we're just this flesh and that's all we are, which is a lie. So let us restore the truth, which means automatically we restore our power. And let's just go back to the very beginning. Let us refresh our minds. Let's refresh our hearts. Let's refresh our consciousness. And let's go back to the beginning. The beginning in terms of planet Earth refers to the fact that we came here. We came here, we embodied ourselves here, and that's where we want to begin. So from this moment forward, we want to address every single thing in our lives from that perspective of truth, of reality. Because we really have a very simple choice in terms of our consciousness and our perspective and our perception of reality. The choice is simple. We either take the perspective of these reptoids, for some reason that's the word I want to use, or we take the perspective of our true, highest, most conscious, infinite selves. So which one sounds better, right? I think it's kind of obvious. It's our own true perspective is the better one. Now, if we are fully 100% awake and we come to planet Earth, the first thing we do is we take a look at the planet and we take a look at the conditions on that planet. And we make a conscious, high intelligence decision about how we are going to be present and exist on this planet, knowing and understanding the conditions. In other words, what do we need to do so that we can be here in full presence and full power as creators? One of the things we want to do to start is to stop believing that planet Earth is the beginning and end of all there ever was, all there ever will be. It is the center of the entire cosmos. We have to stop thinking like that because that really messes with your head. If you look at this planet, which is extremely troubled, and you look at the violence and the suffering and the killing and the wars and the poverty and everything going on here, and even worse stuff that we don't even see or know about. If you look at that very troubled sphere, planetary sphere, and you tell yourself, this is it, this is everything, this is the whole cosmos, this is the center of the universe, and you live as though it is, you're going to struggle like you've never struggled before. Because you will not be able to make sense of your presence here. You will not be able to make sense of yourself and who you are. You're going to have the most intense internal conflict, wondering what you did to end up here, why you're here, what it all means, why are you in resonance with this insanity, and all the crazy questions that are going to go through your mind, trying to explain to yourself what in the heck you're even doing in a place like this. So we don't want to go through that, and we don't have to. All we have to do is remember who we are, establish that truth in our being and in our lives, and go forward with maximum intelligence in this situation. So we come here, we look at the conditions, but wait a second. We need to know why we're here, right? Because if we don't know why we're here, if we don't have purpose, we have no way to navigate this situation. So the purpose is, as I've said many times, the purpose of human existence is to have a positive influence on the evolution of whatever planet we are on. We are meant to be stewards of planetary evolution in this universe. That's our purpose. We cannot enact that purpose unless we are firmly grounded and centered in the truth of who we really are. Because what I'm talking about is not just about being loving, doing good deeds, being kind, smiling at people. No, I'm talking about something incredibly powerful. But we can't even get there if we do not have our consciousness aligned with the reality at a cosmic level of being. So I want to speak to you as the truth of who you are. I don't want to speak to you as, the identity that's been formed for you on this planet by outside forces, by other people, by society, by religion, by all that stuff. Because if I try to speak to you as that identity, if I try to speak to you as though that is who you really are, it's going to be impossible to make that shift. Because all of that stuff isn't the truth about you. So let's see if we can connect from a much higher level of consciousness. And I know that we can. Because I know we can, because it's the truth, right? So let's connect from that place of reality and let us discuss, hey, where are we and what should we be doing here in order to make it possible for us to be fully present and enact the purpose for why we exist in the universe? So already with what I've said so far, we are in a prime position to go forward. Number one, we know who we are. We're infinite beings, creators. Number two, we know where we are. We're on planet Earth, a very troubled planet in a much, much bigger universe loaded with planets, stars, galaxies, etc. This is just one tiny planet that's very, very troubled. And finally, we know why we are here. We understand our higher purpose, to have a positive influence on the evolution of any given planet. And each one of us will enact that purpose in our own unique ways, because no two human beings are the same. And that's by design. That's how it's meant to be. I mean, look at nature. Do you ever see two things in nature that are exactly the same? No. We're part of nature. It's the same is true for us as well. So as infinite beings, we take a look at the earth. We're taking a fresh look right now. We're just refreshing everything. We're clearing out all the junk. We're taking a fresh look at planet Earth. And we realize, okay, we have this beautiful earthly body, which is comprised of all of the elements of the planet. And we understand that these bodies need a support system in order to function in harmony and in alignment with who we are. So let's talk about that support system, because the knowledge of what we need and our capacity to provide that for ourselves has been stolen from us. And that's the next thing we're going to talk about. And I want to talk about the support system that we need on a physical, biological level. I'm not really going to say a lot about the spiritual side of it because the spiritual side of it is a given once we know who we are, where we are, and why we're here. That's inherent, that's core, that's central to all of this. But we are responsible for taking command of these bodies and making sure they receive the support that they need. So given the conditions on planet Earth, given the structures here, there are three main physical systems of support that we need. One is money, the second is health, and the third are relationships. So we need to account for all three. And I know it's all well and good to say, well, there shouldn't be any money. Money's bad. Money's terrible. Why don't we just talk about not having money, Saratoga? That would make everything great. Guys, this entire planet runs on a financial structure. We can turn a blind eye to that, but if we do, we've just gone unconscious to the actual conditions on planet Earth. And not to mention the fact that we've been thoroughly brainwashed to think that being financially supported makes us bad people, right? It makes us less than loving. It makes us selfish. It makes us all these negatives. They did this on purpose, you guys, because they didn't want us to have any money. They wanted to keep it all for themselves. Why do you think they would do that? What do people do who have money? What do loving, creative people do who have money? They create. They use their money to create. That's all you can do with money, you guys. You can't do anything else with it. All you can do is create with it. Does that make sense? So, the controllers don't want us having money because they don't want us to be able to create. They want to keep us in total survival. They want us just desperately hoping for a roof over our heads, food to feed ourselves, and maybe a little transportation if we're lucky. They want us in a state of total weakness. They don't want us ever being able to create anything. That's the point for all the brainwashing. And let me just add something about religion. Don't you just get a little bit tired of these religions who are always talking about poverty and it's good to be poor and God loves the poor, but yet they are the wealthiest institutions on the planet. And they walk around in their robes and they have all their gold and their jewels and all their stuff and their giant, I call them castles of religion. All that stuff. There's a lot of money in those religious organizations, you guys. Lots and lots of money. But they will point to us peasants and say, oh no, money's bad. You shouldn't have it. It makes you a bad person, as they roll their eyes to the sky, thinking about how dumb we must be to believe such nonsense. And here's my favorite part with the money story, okay? Whether it's religions, whether it's governments, whether it's corporations, whoever it is that's telling us we shouldn't have money because that makes us bad. Here's the part I love the most. All the people on planet Earth who have all the money, not all of them, but the big institutions that I'm talking about, who's doing all the evil deeds on this planet? Who are these controllers? How much money do they actually control? Almost all of it, right? And that's a whole other story. I won't go into that today because I don't want to get sidetracked. But I find it very interesting that the guys who have all the money, in the sense that I'm talking about it, are the ones doing the bad stuff. So then, it's like a checkmate. So then we look at them and we go, ooh, money must have made them bad people. It's because they have all this money. That's why they're so bad and evil. Guys, no. They're bad and evil by nature. It's who they want to be. Therefore, it's who they are. They amass all of the wealth for themselves so that they're the only ones that can ever decide what gets created on planet Earth. They use that money to manipulate science. They use it to manipulate everything. And they make sure that those of us who are here for a loving purpose of true creation, they make sure we believe that we should never have it, because if we have it, it means we're bad. It's kind of like they say, we have money and look how bad we are. Do you see what money does to people? That's why you shouldn't have it. Or some crazy thing like that. Now, they've done this brainwashing number on us for many, many, many decades, centuries, maybe thousands of years, probably. They've done this money brainwashing on us so that they can stay in control and make sure we never get out of survival. That's their goal. They want us in fear. Being in survival puts you in fear. That's where they want us to stay. And now that they've successfully brainwashed us for so long and so effectively, you know what their next move is? Their next move is they want us to believe that the only money in the world comes from them. They want to be the only ones who provide us with any money. I'm going to have to kind of talk around that topic. I'm sure you guys understand. But think about this. If they are the only ones that give anybody any money and they are going to give out the minimum amount, where does that leave us? That leaves us in a planetary prison where we have no ability to do anything at all other than what they say, because if we don't do what they say, they just won't give us the money. See how that works? That's the plan. So they are at the final stage of ripping away the power from us to be able to support ourselves. Okay, and the second support system that we need is for our health. Once again, many, many decades have gone by convincing us that we're not really responsible for our health. Someone else is, some authority is, some system is responsible. So we've been encouraged to be completely unconscious about our physical bodies. And again, you guys are going to have to read between some of the lines of what I'm saying for obvious reasons. But we've been unconscious, like, you have a little twinge in your body and you're like, oh my gosh, something must be wrong. And you run to the authority to check you out and let you know if you're okay. So we have gotten to a point where we're being told you have no capacity whatsoever to know if you're okay. Someone outside of you has to tell you if you're okay, because you don't know. And we're also being told, or I'll say encouraged, to do very unhealthy things on a physical level. Eat junk food, don't exercise, because if you exercise and you look like you're in good physical condition, you're going to make other people feel bad who aren't in good physical condition, and that's not fair. So again, even with the health issue, we come back to the money issue, don't we? Because it looks like this. We're told that we have no idea if we're okay, no idea at all. And we have to go pay money to someone else to find out if we're okay. That's the ultra simple version of something that I really can't discuss here. So the people that are there to take care of our health boy, do they get rich. They get rich really, really fast, don't they? And I think you guys know what I'm referring to. So once again, our financial support is our ability to support ourselves financially is taken away from us. Our ability to know if we're okay in terms of our health, that's been taken away from us. And basically, we've been set up to make these things a permanent condition, like all the time, 24/7. We don't have time for that, you guys. We're not here for that. None of us came here for this kind of insanity. Now, let me talk about the third thing, which is relationships. Mainly our human relationships, but also our relationship with nature, with the universe, with everything. Our relationship with reality itself. They've pretty much been intent on chopping that up into all kinds of tiny little pieces. They want to divide us. They want to separate us. They want us hating each other. They want us fighting each other. They want us isolated and alone and not being in relationship to anything outside of their bizarro world that they're trying to create. That's the only thing they want us in relationship with is their strange little world that they want to turn this planet into. So that our ability to develop and cultivate and be in relationship with each other on our own terms as human beings is also being taken away from us. So these are the three main support systems that we need on a physical, biological level in order to thrive here and create and live our purpose for why we even came to this planet. Financial support, which is really energy support to have the capacity to create and take care of yourself and your family and the world that you live in. Secondly, health, which is the sovereign territory of your physical body. And third is relationships, so that we can have natural, human, harmonious relationships with each other based on love, because we are beings of love by nature. All three of those are the main central support systems that we need for our physical existence to be in balance and in alignment and in coherence with who we are and why we're here. Now that we put all of that on the table, let us take note of the fact that in the next few years, not very long from now, the controllers apparently have a plan to lock us down on all three of these levels. Completely lock us down and take total, absolute control of these three main areas of our existence, the three things we need the support of in order to be able to live, create, and fulfill our purpose in being on this planet. They plan to lock it all down, shut it all down. Therefore, this is probably a very good time for us to pause everything in our lives, even just for a day or an hour or whatever, and say, hold on a minute, we messed up. We messed up because we believed that there were outside authorities who were in charge of these three things in our lives. We unfortunately did not take note way earlier than now that these things are our domain, not theirs. These things are our personal, individual domain to provide for ourselves and be able to create and fulfill our purpose here. And the fact that we have been led to believe that in all three of these areas, someone else, namely the controllers, are responsible for taking care of these things for us, that's going to be our undoing, you guys. If we don't shake it off, wake up, wipe the sleep from our eyes, our divine infinite eyes, and say, okay, I think we're done riding on this train. Now, 2024 is coming very soon in a matter of weeks. 2024, I believe, is going to be a transition point. It's going to mark a massive transition in terms of timelines. Which direction is this whole planet going to go in? So I do believe that we really need to, again, remember, we're talking about approaching this as an infinite being. We're not talking about approaching it from some belief that who we are is our physical body, because that's not going to empower us to the degree we need to be empowered. It's just not, because it's not the truth. So we have a challenge before us right now. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's a big challenge because we have been conditioned to live the opposite of what we actually need to be living from who we really are. So we're going to have to, if we care about our presence on this planet, about our presence in this universe, we're just going to have to, pull ourselves together, get real, and say, okay, what's the first thing we need to do? What is the number one first thing we need to do? And this is probably going to be a little, unnerving for a lot of people who may want to consider this. The first thing we need to do is say, okay, I take back responsibility for these three things in my life. These three things from this day forward, I shall be responsible for, because I came here as an infinite creator, and you guys, meaning the controllers, you guys have royally messed this up. You haven't done your job at all. You're completely blowing it on every level in terms of any kind of support. Therefore, you're fired. We can say that, we can look at the controllers and say, hey, guess what? You're fired. You're no longer my provider. You're not the provider for me financially. You're not the provider for my health. And you're not the provider for my understanding of human relationships. You're fired. Doesn't that feel good? Because something about that just feels so good. And then you look at the wreckage in your own life that's been caused by believing that they were supposedly the providers. You look at the wreckage in your life of what you're left with, and that's okay, because now you've taken the most important step, which is to say, hey, I am going to fix this. I'm an infinite being. I'm a creator. I'm going to restore my true presence on this planet, and I'm going to begin by restoration of what I should have been responsible for in my life from the beginning, and was told that I wasn't. I was told a lie. Now that I see the lie because I see what they've really been trying to do all this time. I fire them as the controllers of my life. This is what we can each say to ourselves. I fire them as the controllers of my life. I look at the wreckage that they've left me with. I understand I'm a little weak because I'm not used to being responsible for this stuff. But we got to start somewhere, right? And this is not going to be easy. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, right? It's not going to be easy because we let it go on the way they wanted it to go on for far too long. But it will probably be a lot easier than just waiting around until they lock it all down, shut it all down, and then we lose all our power forever. At least here on planet Earth, we lose our power. So I think it's imperative that we start right now in our own individual lives in those three areas and think about, what are we going to do about this? So let's talk about that. Let's start with the first area, which is money. So the way the culture's been constructed up until now is we're told, go to school for many years, practice living in the environment that you'll be in for having a job. Then go get a job, your boss will pay you, and that's how you get money. Somebody else is responsible for whether or not you have a job by giving you the job. And they're also responsible for paying you. And all you have to do is the same thing you did in school, which is to do what you're told. They never teach in school about financial intelligence. They never teach about entrepreneurship. They never teach anything that's going to empower us. Instead, they teach us to be dependent and obedient when it comes to our money or financial matters. That's what they teach us. So that produces an enormous weakness. So here's what you can do. I'm just going to give you guys suggestions. You can take it or leave it. It's completely up to you. Take part of it, take some of it, take none of it, whatever resonates for you. So if you want to take responsibility for your money, you might want to ask yourself, gee, well, maybe you have a job right now, right? You might want to say, it's a little bit rocky in the world right now with jobs and things. Maybe I ought to have a plan B. Maybe I ought to have another source of income that I have more control over. Maybe you want to look into a little bit of entrepreneurship. And if you're already an entrepreneur, maybe you just want to get better at it. Maybe you want to get more nimble, more flexible, more intelligent, more educated about that part of life. In other words, you want to do whatever you need to do to build some confidence and take back control of where your money is coming from. Now, in order to do this and even be motivated, probably the first thing you're going to need to do is to clear all the negative beliefs out of your head about money, get rid of all those bad beliefs, and turn it into what money actually is for. It's energy for you to be able to create. And bring that consciousness back into things. Money's just a symbol for creative energy on Earth. We're talking about planet Earth. We're not talking about other parts of the universe. We're not talking about other dimensions. We're just talking about where we are right now, which is here on planet Earth. So it's very simple when you understand that money is really nothing more than numbers that symbolize the energy we need to be able to create in the physical world. That's all it is. When you clear your mind of all the junk that you've been programmed to believe, and instead you nurture that positive outlook, it's just energy to create. Think about this. Money's just numbers. What good are the numbers in and of themselves? Maybe they're coins somewhere. What good are the coins in and of themselves? None of these things have any innate value. The value is in what you can do with it in order to create whatever it is you desire to create. That's where the value is. And that's where you can shift your thinking and your motivation so that you can put yourself on a more sovereign track when it comes to this area of life where we really do need support, right? All of us do. Now, the second place that we need support is our health. And my goodness, we've even been told that we don't even know if we're actually healthy or not. We couldn't possibly know that, right? Somebody else would know, but we wouldn't know. So seriously, we're living in these bodies and we don't even know if they're any good or not. Now, I will never say to you guys, don't go to the doctor. Hey, if you think you need to go see a medical professional, please go see a medical professional. I'm not here to tell you what to do in that regard. Just do the right thing. You probably know what it is, so do what you know you need to do. If you need to go see a professional, then please go see a professional. I want to talk to you on the level of supporting your health, becoming healthier than maybe you've ever been before, being responsible to keep yourself in a healthy state. That's what I'm talking about. This is so simple to understand, but not always the easiest thing to achieve. Our bodies need three simple things: adequate sleep at the right times of day and night, not, sleep, I'll go to bed at 3 and I'll sleep for 5 hours and that'll be good enough. We need to sleep in concert with the sun's and the earth's cycle together. So adequate sleep at the best possible times as it relates to nature. The second thing is good nutrition. I think we all know what that is, right? I don't think I need to explain that. We kind of know what that is. Whether or not we do it is another matter, but we know what good nutrition is. And finally, movement. Our bodies need to move. They're designed to move. They need to move in order to be healthy. What you want to do is find some form of exercise that you can actually enjoy and do it regularly. So all we have to do to be responsible for keeping ourselves in the healthiest possible state, remember, I'm talking about health. I'm not going to talk to you guys about sickness and injury and all of that. That's a whole other topic. That's for you to decide and discern for yourselves. I'm talking about supporting our health. Remember, we're talking about support systems. So it's our job to support our own health by providing those 3 things at the highest possible level that we can for our physical bodies to thrive and be energized and alive and clear and feel wonderful. And the third and final area of support that we're talking about here is the area of relationships, our human relationships. This is obviously a very complex topic. I'm just going to keep it real simple and say we need to be responsible for our relationships. It's not responsible for your experience of relationships when the media and social media tells you to hate certain people, to cancel other people, in other words, when they try to control our relationships with each other, which is what they've been trying to do now for the last few years, literally they want to control all of our relationships with each other. That's really bad. So what we want to do is cut them off, take back control of our experience of relationships. And that might involve a lot of inner work. That might involve healing a lot of trauma. That probably involves a lot of deprogramming. But remember who we really are, you guys. We're infinite creators. We need to step into that role of empowerment so that we can take care of ourselves at all 3 of these levels, in all 3 of these areas of life. And also, when they try to tell us that, oh, hey, people, here's AI. You can use AI and then you never have to actually talk to anyone, and you don't even have to write to anyone, and you don't have to communicate to anyone, and you don't really have to do art anymore, or music, or any of those things because AI can do it for you. That's another example of the controllers trying to control our relationships with each other by telling us that AI would be a wonderful interface to insert between us. I think they want to essentially tear us apart from each other. So because the end goal is to have us in personal relationships with AI rather than with each other as human beings. I think that's probably the end goal. So anytime they come at us trying to control our human relationships with each other, not just AI, but all the other ways they try to control us in that regard, we need to just pause and say, hold on, I'm actually going to think about what you're telling me. I'm actually going to think about what you're suggesting I do and say, and then make your own decision. So let's just do a quick review of everything I've said so far, because if we do this, you guys, we are going to transform our lives individually. Literally transform your life so that you rediscover your capacity as a powerful creator who has the ability to manifest and create the kind of life that you want, not the life that the controllers want for you. The kind of life that you want and know you need in order to be able to fulfill your purpose for coming onto this planet Earth in the first place. And this is what I would call taking a stand for our sovereignty. We must take a stand for our personal sovereignty in this situation. Because if we don't, we've been conditioned for weakness in all three of these areas. And if we don't stop that train and get off of it now and say, I'm going to be responsible for myself. We need to be the most reliable person in our own lives. You need to be your own best friend. Now, when I talk about providing for yourself, I don't mean go live out in the woods, build yourself a little hut, live by a stream, grow some food in the soil there and see if you can survive. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something very simple, not easy, definitely challenging, but simple to understand. Because see, we also don't want the controllers to run us out of our world. We don't want to let them instill so much fear in us that we're so scared that we want to run and hide in a cave somewhere. They're trying to take over everything that they said was ours. What we want to do is say, nope, you guys aren't going to do this. We're in command here, we're in control, and we are now going to create what we want in this situation. So this is the perfect time for us to do this. Perfect. Because as I said earlier, we're about to go into 2024, a year of massive transition. We have some power in this transition if we take a stand for our sovereignty. If we take a stand for our personal sovereignty in our own lives. So in conclusion and review, you are an infinite being. You're not your body. Your body is precious because it's a sacred vehicle that makes it possible for you to be on this planet and fulfill your purpose. Therefore, the support systems that I described that your physical body needs and that you need in being in this body of yours needs to be fundamentally your responsibility because you are the best person to know what it is you actually need. Doesn't that make sense? Do you really think these controllers are the best people to know what you need? Of course not. But we have to take a stand for ourselves in our personal lives. So in preparation for 2024, for a year of transition, why don't we start right now making our own personal transition? Why don't we transition away from the crazy controllers being in control of these major parts of our lives, cut them off, tell them you're fired, sorry. And then we restore our rightful place within our own lives. And we take control of these areas of our own lives so that we can trust ourselves. We know that we are the most reliable person in our life. And it will be completely transformational. So I invite you to take on the challenge. Because yes, it will not be easy, but it will be so rewarding. You will feel so much better about your life, about yourself, and about being on this planet. Because you will finally be able to find your own path, find a direction that is positive, that is empowered, that is useful, that is good, that is in alignment, not only with just you, but with the whole universe. Now, I know this video was primarily focused on the physical support that we need on planet Earth. But that's because the more supported that we feel physically, the better our energy will flow, the better our consciousness can expand, and the more capable we will be to create and have a powerful influence, a powerful positive influence on this planet Earth. And I really think we can do it. I just think we have to make the effort to straighten ourselves out and cut all of the ties to these evildoers, to these crazy controllers. We really have to cut those ties on a very personal level. Now, before I go, I want to mention the topic I bring up repeatedly, which is about this HEALY frequency device. I didn't invent this device. I discovered it. Thank heavens I discovered it, because it is such an incredible ally for evolution. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do, because I cannot possibly explain any of that to you at the end of a video, in 5 minutes or 2 minutes, and I don't even want to try. I think I might actually create a totally separate video where I can really explain why I think this thing matters in terms of where we are right now on this planet in our evolutionary state of existence. And that way, if you want to watch it, you can. If you don't, it's not going to be a substitute for my regular videos. It's completely separate. It'd just be an add-on. It's not going to be in any way. It's not like I'm going to say, hey guys, for our Tuesday video, I'm going to do this. I won't even post it on a Tuesday. I'll just post it on a different day, just an extra thing. And you can watch it if you want. If you don't want to watch it, obviously don't. And yeah, I think that's a good way to do it, because that will give me a chance to really explain why I feel like this is so important. If you want to know a little bit right now, because I'm not sure when I'm going to make that video, but I do have a really short little video that you can check out where you can hear a little bit about my experience. I'll put the link below. You can check that out, or maybe you've already checked it out and you want to get one, in which case you can just go to the store and get one yourself. But I really think I'm going to make a separate video, because it's just so profound. The impact of this thing is so profound. Okay, I'm going to tell you a real fast story. We have a rescue dog who had a heart problem. The vet said her heart was enlarged. This is like a week or so. No, he told us this a month ago. Her heart had now become enlarged and there was fluid around it. He tried to put her on a drug to help it, and it only made her worse, so we had to take her off the drug. So with his help, he agreed, let's try using the HEALY on her. He went out of town for a couple of weeks. He wanted to see her again because he wanted to track what happened to her for his own knowledge, with x-rays and blood work and all of that, which he did. This probably spanned over more than a month. I'm not really sure, maybe 6 weeks or something. So he saw her a few days ago. He was blown away because this was all from the HEALY. He said her heart had gone back to normal size and the fluid was gone. Everyone was in shock. He was in shock. He couldn't believe it. So that's just a little tidbit. That's like nothing, tiny compared to what this quantum technology can do. That's why I think I might want to make a whole separate video to share more with you all about why I think this is so important right now in terms of where we are on this planet. Now, I wanted to share this with you guys because this was so amazing. It's not like I'm just saying, oh, we used the HEALY on our dog and she got better. This was being tracked and watched by a medical professional, our veterinarian. He was tracking it with us, the blood work, the x-rays. In fact, he even gave us those services for free because he wanted to see for himself what was going to happen. So a few days ago, when he took another x-ray and he looked at her heart and he was like, oh my gosh, it's almost back to normal size and the fluid's gone. And that was the only thing that was different, was using the HEALY. So I love this because, it's not just my word. It's not just our belief. It's visible proof by a medical professional. So it's an animal, but it's still a biological being, and this works for biological beings, humans and animals. So yeah, pretty miraculous, you guys. Very, very miraculous. So you can check it out right now in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think could really use some help in restoring their own sovereignty in their personal lives. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I am here on Tuesdays with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and high vibrational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.